Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Anshuka, Parul, Anshika, Parul, Kunal, Abhishek Joshi, Tanishq, Priyanshi Dikshit, Atharva, Adarsh. A very warm good evening to everyone. So, this is the final match of the T20 series, right? So, I'm sure you enjoyed solving the sheet. Overall sheet का level क्या लगा आपको? What do you think was the level of the sheet overall? Personally speaking, it was moderate. I would have gone easy to moderate. डिफरेंट टॉपिक्स कवर किए हैं इसमें. एक दो ऐसे पढ़ के लगता है कि सिमिलर हैं, जैसे कि विमेन्स का था, बट देन दे वर इन अ डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव. चलो, वी आर स्टार्टिंग ऑफ मॉडरेट टू ट्रिकी. ओके, Kratika, Jaiswal, and Anshika found it moderate to tricky. Okay, it should have been easy to moderate because you have been reading and solving such kind of passages for quite some time now. Chalo, we are beginning off with the first passage. The first passage was on management and environment, right? Management of the factories and how environmental regulations affect them, and what they can do to keep pace with the changing regulations. The tone was suggestive. टूवर्ड्स द एंड ऑथर ने कैन वर्ड यूज करके बोला है कि व्हाट द मैनेजर्स कैन डू, so that makes it overall जितनी भी observations थी, it was coming down to giving some suggestions or advice to the managers. Score, it was a kind of topic that you have been solving for quite some time, so it should be the only acceptable score is 4 on 4 or 5 on 5. Okay, time, it should not have taken you more than 2 minutes. Starting off, I'm sure just in case, do you have any doubts in the passage in terms of understanding the passage? Okay. We are starting off, and many of you have already sent me your answers. Very good. What can be inferred from? The question focuses on what can be inferred from the passage that a large plant might have to spend more than a similar but smaller plant on environmental compliance. The part here is environmental compliance, because the larger plant is what? And yes, those of you who have already answered the question are absolutely correct. It is B. अगर देखते ये कहाँ मिलेगा आपको, बेसिकली ये पैसेज की 4th लाइन में आया हुआ है, राइट? For example, a plant situated near a number of larger non-compliant competitors is less likely to attract attention of local regulators than is an isolated plant, and less attention means lower costs. Everyone with me so far? I'm not getting your responses. Please, everyone, participate and do it quickly too. Okay. Question number 2 is saying, according to the passage, which of the following statements about sulfur dioxide and not nitrogen oxide outputs is true. ठीक है, अब ये अकॉर्डिंग टू द पैसेज बोला है, मतलब ये कहीं ना कहीं डायरेक्टली पैसेज में मेंशन्ड होंगे, स्पेसिफिकली सल्फर डाइऑक्साइड एंड नाइट्रोजन ऑक्साइड, राइट? Absolutely correct. Answer is D. And everybody has got it correct. Viral, yes, I have to answer your question. So I'll be sending you that particular answer. Don't worry. Okay. Question number 3. Which of the following best describes? We are talking about the relationship of the statement about large plants to the passage as a whole. अब इसको अगर करेक्ट आंसर करना है तो आई नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट द पैसेज एज अ होल इज ट्राइंग टू डू, राइट? What is the passage as a whole trying to do? If I look at the construction of passage, basically what it does is that it talks about how environmental regulations do not affect all the corporations equally, and then they have gone the author has gone on to take an example of larger corporations. So absolutely correct, everyone. Answer is going to be C. It provides examples to support a claim made earlier in the passage. Very good, everyone. अथर्व, कहीं भी कोई एग्जेम्पलीफाइज अ मिसकंसेप्शन नहीं हो रहा है, वो तो एक्चुअली सपोर्ट अ क्लेम कर रहा है. वो क्या बोल रहा है कि डज नॉट अफेक्ट द एनवायरमेंटल रेगुलेशंस डू नॉट अफेक्ट everyone or all the corporations equally. Hence answer is going to be C. Chalo, fourth one. What is the primary purpose of the passage? Absolutely correct. Everyone has again got it correct. Answer will be C, correct. A common misconception about the impact of environmental regulations. So I'm sure everybody has got it on 4 on 4 or at least 3 on 3. इस टाइप के passages में you shouldn't keep the scope of answering any question incorrectly. यहाँ पे 100% एक्यूरेसी की जरूरत है. चलो, गोइंग टू द पैसेज 2. इट्स टॉकिंग अबाउट रेनेसां विमेन और उनके बारे में डिस्कस हुआ है इन टर्म्स ऑफ वेदर डिड दे गेन इक्वालिटी और नॉट. सो द थीम इज सोशियो हिस्टोरिकल. The tone is obviously analytical because author यहाँ पे 2-3 लोगों का ले रहा है and towards the end वो slight, एकदम से नहीं but slight support कर रहा है क्रोनटिरिस की व्यू को. ठीक? Because again it was not a difficult passage. ज्यादातर questions तो आपके ढूंढ के मिल जाते हैं. एक आध inference का था, so at the most acceptable is 4 on 5, otherwise 4 on 4 on 5 and 5. And the maximum time it should take is 3 minutes. Okay, Anurag has a doubt as in why not A in 4. Okay. अनुराग, अगर फर्स्ट सेंटेंस देखते हैं पैसेज का, क्या बोल रहा है? Among the myths taken as a fact by the environmental managers of most corporations is the belief that environmental regulations can affect all competitors in a given industry uniformly. तो यहाँ पे सिर्फ और सिर्फ ये बात हो रही है environmental regulations की with respect to industries. तो ये कहीं भी ये बात नहीं हो रहा है advocate increased, he is not advocating increased corporate compliance with एनवायरमेंट रेगुलेशन. वो एडवोकेट नहीं कर रहा है, एंड में सजेशन दे रहा है कि environmental managers can help the companies to achieve a competitive edge by anticipating तो ये कहीं भी नहीं कर रहा है कि इंक्रीज कॉर्पोरेट कॉम्प्लायंस होना चाहिए, वो डिस्कस कर रहा है कैसे ये एनवायरमेंटल रेगुलेशन सबको इक्वली अफेक्ट नहीं करते हैं. आई होप यू गॉट दैट नाउ. ओके, क्वेश्चन नंबर 5. The author of the passage discusses Cronteris primarily to provide an example of a writer who has done what? Very good, Adarsh, Priyanshi. Absolutely correct. Answer is going to be D. Right? And how do I gather this particular thing as my answer? Now, यहाँ पे ये क्वेश्चन फोकस कर रहा है कि ऑथर ने ट्रॉन्टरिस की स्टडी को मेंशन क्यों किया है, right? So basically, the author has started with the two authors, that is Jacob Burckhardt's view, and then they are talking about John Kelly, right? Now, इसके बाद इन्होंने जो ऑथर ने मेंशन किया towards the end is that in any journal, say Tina Cronteris, for example, in a fascinating study of 6 Renaissance women, writer does not tend to conflate women and women writers, assuming that women's gender, irrespective of other social differences, including literacy, allows us to view women as a homogeneous social group and make that group an object of analysis. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे ऑथर ने बड़े सिंपली रिजेक्ट किया है, रादर क्रोंटरिस का एग्जाम्पल लेके उन्होंने रिजेक्ट किया है व्यूज ऑफ बोथ ब्रकहार्ट एंड केली. Anurag, I'll come back to that. Question number 6. According to the passage, Cronteris' work differs from that of the scholars mentioned in line 12 in which of the following ways? Differ कैसे करता है? Very good, Priyanshi. आंसर इज एब्सोल्युटली सी है. अब कैसे हुआ है? ये लोग क्या कह रहे हैं कि द फेमिनिस्ट स्कॉलर्स जो हैं उन्होंने एग्जाम्पल लिया है, जो ऑथर ने लिया है वो बेसिकली फोकस करते हैं generalized one, right? They're generalizing it in context of women as a whole. While the work of Cronteris जो है, Cronteris की जो work है, that is basically focused only on Renaissance women writers. So we are looking at a literate and a privileged class of women. And everybody has got it correct. Moving on to the next. According to the passage, feminist scholars cite Burckhardt's view of Renaissance women primarily for which of the following reasons? And you'll find this answer direct. Absolutely correct. प्रियांशी एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट आंसर है. ये डायरेक्टली मेंशन्ड है. अगर आप फर्स्ट 3 लाइंस पढ़ोगे उसमें आपको क्लियरली आंसर मिल जाएगा. Has been repeatedly cited by feminist scholars as a prelude to the presentation of rich historical evidence of women's inequality. अब हो क्या रहा है? बर्कहार्ट जो बोल रहा है stood on a footing of equality, मतलब वो इक्वल थे. अब इस चीज को विमेन फेमिनिस्ट जो है इसका ये एक प्रमाइस बना के उनका आर्ग्यूमेंट प्रेजेंट करती हैं कि देयर वाज नो इक्वालिटी. Eighth one, the author of the passage suggests that Cronteris incorrectly assumes what? तो Cronteris ने कहीं ना कहीं कुछ incorrect assume किया है. तो what is that? Very good, Priyanshi. You seem to be on a roll. सारे आपके सिक्सर लग रहे हैं यहाँ पे. I'm very happy to note that. आदर्श, आपने कहा you left the passage or okay, you left that particular question. No problems. Absolutely correct. Answer is A. Now, Cronteris जो है वो रेनेसा विमेन राइटर्स को जो स्टडी करती है वो उनको बेसिकली जो है शी इज टेकिंग देम एज अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव ऑफ ऑल द रेनेसा विमेन. दैट इज वेयर शी इज अज्यूमिंग इनकरेक्टली. वो ये ध्यान में नहीं रखती है कि सोशल स्टैंडिंग डिफर करने से वो द इम्पैक्ट ऑफ इक्वालिटी विल बी अफेक्टेड. She has focused her efforts or her study only on women writers who were literate and of privileged class. Absolutely correct. सबका आ गया जितने लोगों ने भी भेजा है आंसर. Very good. चलो, let's go to the next one. Ninth one. The author of the passage implies that the women studied by Cronteris are unusual in which of the following ways? Very good. Adarsh, Sanskriti, Priyanshi, excellent. Answer is D. And where do I get this particular answer? सिंपल है, इतनी देर से वही क्वेश्चन अलग अलग तरीके से आ रहा है. Cronteris ने क्या किया? She based her results on writers, female writers. Writers है मतलब literate है, privileged class की है. राइट. सो उसके बेसिस पे उसने जनरलाइज कर दिया कि सारी रेनेसां की विमेन ऐसी ही होगी. सो व्हाट इज दैट? शी हैज अज्यूम्ड दैट the perception of the writers of Renaissance will be more accessible to historians than other Renaissance women. है ना, क्योंकि वो ऑथर्स थी तो दैट विल बी मोर एक्सेसिबल. जो नहीं लिख पाती थी वो नहीं रहेंगी. सर हर ऑब्जर्वेशन इज लिमिटेड ओनली टू दीज राइटर्स. चलो, 10th one. The last sentence of the passage. The focus here is on the last sentence of the passage. What does it do? Kritika, it's socio-cultural. Very good. Answer is C. Show a way in which Cronteris' work illustrates a cautiously optimistic assessment of Renaissance women's achievement. Now, what do I mean by cautiously optimistic? तो बेसिकली फर्स्ट सेंटेंस जो है वो बता रहा है कि Cronteris जो है वो कंप्लीटली ऑप्टिमिस्टिक भी नहीं है और कंप्लीटली नेगेटिव भी नहीं है रिगार्डिंग दोज विमेन. राइट. Adarsh and Tanishq, you've got that incorrect. Now, Frontiers work is not representative of recent trends. ये recent trends की बारे में बात नहीं हो रही है. Let's eliminate करके easy होता है. Undermine the argument that literate women of the Renaissance sought to oppose social constraints imposed upon them. It is not actually undermining that. वो तो बोल रही है कि ये कर पाती थी, तो ये भी incorrect हुआ. D says summarize Cronter's view of the effect of literacy on the lives of upper and middle class Renaissance women. She is not focusing on the effect of literacy, right? She is focusing on the achievements of this particular aspect, achievements of Renaissance women. So it's not about effect of literacy. Hence answer बनता है C. अब ये क्यों C होगा? क्योंकि Cronteris जो है ना तो optimistic है about the previous work that has been done. Kelly Burkhardt की बात हो रही है, right? And neither is she completely negative about their achievement. Hence, it is going to be cautiously optimistic. Very good, Priyanshi has so far 10 on 10, and I'm sure many of you have 10 on 10. Moving on to the next passage. Chale apan. Any doubts, anyone so far? If there are doubts, please type out your doubts. Otherwise, answer with yes or no. Thank you for your prompt reply, Adarsh. Thank you, Nivedita. Going on to passage 3 now. The passage 3 is sociology and technology. Why? Because it is discussing the effect of technological changes on the sociology or the societal aspects of the organization. The tone is obviously analytical है, ये तो सबको पता चल ही गया होगा. Acceptable score यहाँ पे 1 की margin रख रही हूँ, that it should be 3 on 4, 4 on 4, 4 on 5 or 5 and 5. And it is likely to take time because there are chances that you might have to regress specifically with respect to your words such as determinism and constructivism. उस context में शायद आपको regress करने की जरूरत पड़ सकती है. चलो. 11th one. What is the primary purpose of the passage? Very good, Priyanshi. Excellent. Keep this up all the time and specifically in CLAT and ALIT. Nothing like it. Very good. Everybody has got it correct. Answer is C. कैसे आ रहा है? बेसिकली यहाँ पे ब्रेवरमैन का उन्होंने एक रेफरेंस दिया है ऑथर ने, जो कि सपोर्ट कर रहा है सोशल कंस्ट्रक्टिविज्म को, और इसको अपोज कर रहा है क्लार्क का टेक्नोलॉजिकल डिटर्मिनिज्म वाला एस्पेक्ट. I hope there are no doubts in this. Very good. 12th one. Which of the following statements about the modernization of the telephone exchange is supported by information in the passage. So the focus here is on the modernization of the telephone exchange. Very good, Priyanshi. Very good. Answer is going to be C. कैसे हो रहा है द मॉडर्नाइजेशन ऑफ टेलीफोन एक्सचेंज? तो फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ ही पढ़ोगे तो वहीं से समझ में आएगा कि वो एक इशू था जिसके की बारे में ऑथर डिस्कस कर रहा है. एंड व्हाट इज द इशू? दैट बेसिकली the effect of the modernization of a telephone exchange on exchange maintenance work and workers is a solid contribution to a debate that encompasses two lively issues in history and sociology of technology. ये फर्स्ट में ही आंसर मिल गया है. And the author has obviously supported Clark's view. Hence, answer is going to be C. 13th, which of the following most accurately describes Clark's opinion of Braverman's position? ये भी आपको मिल जाएगा easily. There is no issue in this particular thing. You the first one देख लो आप. फर्स्ट सेंटेंस क्या बोल रहा है क्लार्क के बारे में और ब्रेवरमैन क्या बोल रहा है. अगर आप वो चीज कंपेयर कर लोगे, ये दो सेंटेंसेस पढ़ लोगे, इट विल बी क्लियर दैट इट इज गोइंग टू बी बी. I'm sorry about that. Everybody has got it. Absolutely correct. 14th one, the information in the passage suggests that which of the following statements from hypothetical sociological studies of a change in industry most clearly exemplifies the social constructivists version of technological determinism. Now basically अगर अपन सोशल कंस्ट्रक्टिविस्ट का व्यू देखते हैं रिगार्डिंग टेक्नोलॉजिकल डिटर्मिनिज्म, तो अगर अपन पैसेज में पढ़ेंगे तो so it's using Braverman's analysis to show social constructivist position. And फिर आगे चल के आता है क्लार्क का, जो कि बताता है कि इट्स लाइक are reported, the constructivists are reported to hold that technological determinism views technology as existing outside society, capable of directly influencing skills and work organization. Right? यहाँ से आप easily ये कर पाओगे कि the answer is going to be A, that it is a available technology that determines worker skills rather than worker skills influencing the application of टेक्नोलॉजी. तो टेक्नोलॉजी वर्कर को अफेक्ट करेगा या वर्कर के स्किल्स को अफेक्ट करेगा, वर्कर के स्किल्स टेक्नोलॉजी को नहीं करेंगे. एंड अगेन एवरीबडी हैज गॉट इट करेक्ट. वेरी गुड. नेक्स्ट वन, 15th one. Which of the following statement about CLAT study of the telephone exchange can be inferred from the information in the passage? अगेन ये डायरेक्ट मिल जाएगा आपको. एब्सोल्युटली करेक्ट प्रियांशी. आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी सी. प्रियांशी, तनिष्क. Tanishk, I hope you got all 15 on 15 correct. Pakhi, Parul, Sanskriti. I hope you got all 15 on 15 correct. Okay. Again, question. Any doubts anywhere in the questions or in the passage? Please reply with yes or no. प्रियांशी 5 on 5 वेरी गुड अभी तक आपका ये अनब्रेकेबल स्ट्रीक है वेरी गुड ऋषिका नॉट बैड 3 on 4 और जो गलत हुआ है उसकी एनालिसिस करिए कहाँ गलत हुआ है आपका डिड यू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द क्वेश्चन डिड यू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द ऑप्शन और वाज इट सिंपली केयरलेस मिस्टेक चलो मूविंग ऑन टू पैसेज 4 द थीम इज साइंस द टोन इज ऑब्जेक्टिव ये मेटाबॉलिज्म की बात कर रहा है ऑथर ने जो ऑब्जर्व किया वो बता रहा है लैंग्वेज इज मॉडरेट एट द मोस्ट बोलोगे मैं तो इसको इजी की कैटेगरी में रखूंगी सो द ओनली एक्सेप्टेबल स्कोर एंड अनदर थिंग दैट आई विल एक्सेप्ट ओनली 4 on 4 and 5 on 5 is because this particular passage contains a lot of direct questions ये डायरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस वाला पैसेज है इसका ऑप्शन आप ढूंढोगे तो डायरेक्टली साफ साफ पैसेज में लिखा हुआ मिलेगा सो द ओनली एक्सेप्टेबल स्कोर इज 4 on 4 and 5 on 5 okay why not Dean 15 uh Vivek go to the first passage बात वहीं से फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ द पैसेज की ही बात हो रही है John Clark's study of the effect of modernization of a telephone exchange on exchange maintenance work and workers is a solid contribution to the debate that encompasses two lively issues. And if I look at towards the end, it is ending with thus Clark helps answer the question when is social choice decisive and when the concrete characteristics of technology are more important. और उसके पहले की एक दो लाइन पढ़ोगे द आंसर यू गेट इट यू कैन इन्फर इट क्वाइट क्लियरली इक्वली बेनिफिशियल टू मैनेजमेंट एंड लेबर इस चीज को डिनाई कर रहा है आई होप यू गॉट दैट author has also stated Clark को स्टेट किया है saying that managers are sometimes subordinate to technological changes चलो विल कम टू दिस सिंपल है ये पैसेज सबका करेक्ट हुआ ही होगा and I want that all are correct now 16 which of the following titles best summarizes the contents of the passage वेरी गुड आंसर इज बी क्योंकि ये पैसेज में डायरेक्टली मेंशन्ड है राइट इट इज सेइंग इन द फर्स्ट line of the passage the second sentence in recent studies however we have discovered that the production and release in brain neurons of the neurotransmitter serotonin depend directly on the food that the body processes directly mentioned it so it is the effects of food amino acids and neurotransmitter the connection between serotonin level and thyrosin नहीं है ये food क्या कर रहा है आपने food क्या खाया है उसका क्या प्रोसेस हो रहा है प्रोसेसिंग हो रहा है सिंथेसिस हो रहा है and that affects your serotonin so hence answer is going to be B and not D and many of you have got it in clear so is this clear अब सब जगह देखो ना, प्रोटीन कार्बोहाइड्रेट खिलाया तो ऐसे हुआ, प्रोटीन खिलाया तो ये हुआ। तो बेसिकली क्या है, कार्बोहाइड्रेट प्रोटीन जो है फूड ग्रुप के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आएगा। तो आप जो फूड खाते हो वो अफेक्ट करता है सेरोटोनिन को। Anurag, Tanishk, I hope you got it and you haven't marked it incorrect. Chalo. 17th, according to the passage, the speed with which tryptophan is provided to the brain cell of a provided to the brain cells of a rat varies with what? And obviously correct. Answer is going to be A. Surprisingly, those of you got the 16th incorrect. अगर आप 17th को correct mark कर रहे हो तो आपका 16th भी correct होना चाहिए. How come you got your 16th answer to question number 16th incorrect? Yeah, again directly here. The information is given directly in the passage. 18th, according to the passage, when the authors began their first studies, they were aware that absolutely correct. Very good. Priyanshi, Adarsh, Tanishk, absolutely correct. Yes, very good. D आया. Second paragraph की first line पढ़ोगे. Our first studies sought to determine whether the increase in serotonin observed in rats given a large injection of the amino acid tryptophan might also occur after rats ate meals that changed tryptophan levels in the blood. So वो actually basically aware थे कि सेरोटोनिन लेवल्स इंक्रीज होती है, अगर इनको ये चीज करेंगे तो भी इंक्रीज होगी क्या? Very good. 19th, according to the passage, one reason that the authors gave rats carbohydrate was to, and again everybody has got it correct, C, cause the rats to produce insulin. We gave, third paragraph, we gave the rats a carbohydrate containing meal that we knew would elicit insulin secretion. Meals rich in tryptophan कहाँ mentioned है दिया? ट्रिप्टोफन प्रोड्यूस होता है, मील में ट्रिप्टोफन नहीं रहता है. वो मील को जब सिंथेसिस होगा तब आपका ट्रिप्टोफन रिलीज होगा. So a meal does not have tryptophan. A meal is either carbohydrate based or protein based. I hope you got that now, Dia. 20th. The more protein a rat consumes, the lower will be what? And again, everybody has got it correct. Very good. Answer is B. Again, directly mentioned in the passage. Any doubts, anyone, in this passage? Again, please reply with yes or no. Oh, wow. Very good, Priyanshi Dikshit. Excellent. Very good, Adarsh. 5 on 5. ऋषिका 5 and 5. अनुराग आपके 2 इनकरेक्ट क्यों हुए उसकी एनालिसिस करिए अभी. From now onwards you shouldn't get any incorrect. 3 solve किए, it should be 3 on 3, 4 on 4 or 5 and 5, and try and improve your attempts as well as accuracy. Chalo, going to passage 5. It is about cosmology, science pe hai, and it is specific to cosmology. Right? The tone is exploratory. Author बोल रहा है could be हो सकता है, ये हो सकता है, वो हो सकता है. Scores 3 on 3, 4 on 4, 5 and 5. Now, basically, this particular passage should have taken you 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes. Not more than that. 4 minutes भी इसलिए क्योंकि कुछ questions में regress करने की जरूरत रहेगी. Now, the point is that if you've been reading different kind of topics, you should be able to solve this quite easily. ठीक है, चलो. Going with the first question, the passage is primarily concerned with what? Passage क्या कर रहा है? It is not defending a controversial approach. कहीं भी controversial approach नहीं है. ये negate हो गया. Criticizing वो criticize नहीं कर रहा है. ये भी नहीं होगा. Innovative technique तो कहीं बात ही नहीं हुई है. So what is left is answer is C. What is it doing? The first paragraph, it basically identifies a larger context about what the author is investigating. The second paragraph is going to explain what research the author has done, and the conclusion is that importance. The author is explaining the importance of the findings in relation to the question of universe's possible close, कि होगा कि नहीं होगा. चलो, 22. The author's study indicates that in comparison with the outermost regions of a typical spiral galaxy, the region just outside the nucleus can be characterized as having. Author's study indicates. Very good, Priyanshi, Vidhi. Very good. Answer is going to be D. Second paragraph, third last line. Instead, we found that the rotational velocity in spiral galaxies either remains constant with increasing distance from center or increases slightly. So basically, similar ही रहेगी. Very good, everyone. 23. The author's suggestion that as much as 90% of the mass of the universe is not radiating at any wavelength with enough intensity to be detected on the Earth. ये पर्टिकुलर पार्ट जो है, इसको कौन सा ऑप्शन निगेट करेगा या इसको वीकन करेगा? Very good. Answer is going to be A. Why? Because if you look at जो भी ये authors ने study की है, वो किस पे की है? Spiral galaxies पे बात की है, right? Second paragraph, second line. Outside the bright nucleus of a typical spiral galaxy, luminosity fails and so on and so forth. So instead, we have found that rotational velocity in spiral galaxy either remains constant with increasing distance or increases only slightly. So the author study is completely based on spiral galaxies. अगर ये ट्रू हो जाए कि सिर्फ स्पाइरल गैलेक्सी नहीं होती है, अलग टाइप की भी गैलेक्सीज होती है, तो ये ऑथर की स्टडी जो है ये गलत हो जाएगी. हेंस आंसर इज गोइंग टू बी ए. Adarsh, I hope you got this one correct now. 24th, it can be inferred from information presented in the passage that if the density of the universe were equivalent to significantly less than 3 hydrogen atoms per cubic meter, उसका रिजल्ट क्या होगा? Absolutely correct. Very good. Directly mentioned it. Very good. Answer is C. Chalo. 25th. The author proposes all of the following as possibly contributing to missing matter in spiral galaxies except. कौन सी चीज mention नहीं है? If you look at the last paragraph, last line, it is directly given. While it has not yet been determined whether this mass is sufficient to close the universe, some physicists. Okay, my bad. Second line, not second last line, second line. Such dark matter could be in the form of extremely dim stars of low mass, of large planets like Jupiter, or of black holes. Either small or massive. Chalo. Any doubts, anyone so far in any of the questions or any of the passages? Please respond with yes or no. Very good. Let's come to the last passage. It is sociology in historical perspective, the history of United States women. Specific to 19th century and 18th century. The tone is analytical. Author ने दो works लिए हैं और उनके बारे में discuss किया है. The acceptable score will be 4 on 4 on 5 and 5. And maximum time it should have taken is 3.5 minutes, not more than that. Going on to the questions, the primary purpose of the passage is what? Answer is obviously D. The passage starts off with this line. Two works published in 1984 demonstrate contrasting approaches to writing the history of United States women. Buell and Buell's biography of Mary Fish makes little effort to place her story in the context of recent historiography on women. Livestock meanwhile does that. तो बेसिकली उन्होंने दो स्टडी को लिया है ऑथर ने एंड ही इज डिस्कसिंग दैट एंड अगेन एवरीबडी हैज गॉट इट करेक्ट वेरी गुड 27 the author of the passage mentions the supervision of schools primarily in order to. अब बेसिकली यहाँ पे ये अगर स्पेसिफिक चीज आ गई है तो ये एक पार्शियल इन्फ्रेंस वाला क्वेश्चन हो गया और ये चीज का आंसर आपको पैसेज एज अ होल क्या कन्वे कर रहा है उस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आंसर मिलेगा. सो व्हाट इज अ पैसेज ट्राइंग टू कन्वे एज अ होल? Okay. If I look at the passage, the author has supported Lepsoc's view. What is Lepsoc's view? Lepsoc's view is that different frames of reference can produce different perspective on the debate about women's status in the 18th centuries and 19th centuries. The author then gives an example in support of this. Hence, answer is going to be A. He's giving an example to answer question about women's status depending on particular context. जैसे ही आप context change करोगे, perspective change हो जाएगा. Parul, I hope you understood this. See, बोलता provides an example of an occupation for which accurate data about women's participation. बच्चा अगर डेटा नहीं रहता तो ही वुडंट हैव कोटेड दिस एज एन एग्जाम्पल. ये उस पर्टिकुलर जो ऑथर कन्वे करना चाहता है उसके अगेंस्ट जाएगा. इट कैन नॉट बी सी. 28. With which of the following characterization of Lepsoc's contribution to the controversy concerning women's status in the 19th century 19th century United States would the author of the passage be most likely to agree? Author लेप्सटॉक के कौन से बात से अग्री करेगा? वेरी गुड, बी. फॉर्मरली निग्लेक्टेड एंड रीजन एंड टाइम की बात नहीं हो रही है. यहाँ पे तो 2 स्टडी की हुई है, सो इससे आप सिंपल ये इन्फर कर सकते हो कि बाकी लोगों ने भी काम किया हुआ है. तो देयर इज नथिंग निग्लेक्टेड टाइम पीरियड. एंड रीजन तो यूएस की है और दोनों में यूएस की बात हुई है, सो देयर इज नॉट इवन निग्लेक्टेड रिलीजन. बट लेप्सॉक ने डेफिनेटली कहा हुआ है कि इट बेसिकली यू नो दैट द प्रीवियस वाले में बोला है डिफरेंट फ्रेम्स ऑफ रेफरेंस कैन प्रोड्यूस डिफरेंट पर्सपेक्टिव अबाउट वुमेन स्टेटस. अगर आप ये सेंटेंस पढ़ोगे क्लियर हो जाएगा. She examines several different aspects of women's status, helping to refine and resolve the issues. She concludes that while women gained autonomy in some areas, especially in the private sphere, they lost it in many aspects of the economic sphere. She shows that debate itself depends on frame of reference. In many respects, women lost power, and there were certain jobs that were taken over by men. So it has to do with reference. Hence answer is going to be B. 29th. According to the passage, Lepsoc's works differs from Buell, and Buell's work in which context? So basically लेप्सॉक्स वर्क क्या काम कर रहा है जिसके की कारण वो ब्यूल के वर्क से डिफर करता है. वेरी गुड. Addresses larger historiographical issues. Very good. Again directly mentioned. Now if you look at the last sentence of the passage, in contrast, Buell and Buell's biography provides ample raw material for questioning the myth fostered by some historians of a colonial golden age in the 18th century, but does not give the reader much guidance in analyzing the controversy over women's status. Lepstock's work is she using a large number of primary sources? ये कहाँ से infer करूंगी मैं? If I look at the passage में एक जगह specifically दिया है that Buell and Buell's work makes little effort to place its biographical subject in the context of recent historiography on women, whereas Lepsock's work attempts to redirect 2 decades of historiographical debate about women's status. And if I look at the A, there are no primary sources are mentioned with respect to either of the work. If it's not mentioned at all. Primary sources की बात ही नहीं हुई है. Okay, 30th one. The passage suggests that Buell and Buell's biography of Mary Fish provides evidence for which of the following? Answer is going to be C. The colonial era was not as favorable for women as some of the historians have believed. देखो, last line. Buell and Buell's biography provides ample raw material for questioning the myth, which has been fostered by some historians of a colonial golden age in the 18th century. इसका मतलब क्या होगा? उसको चैलेंज कर रहा है. तो historians मानते कि वो golden age था. Colonial era was a golden age. So Buell and Buell's biography जो है उस particular चीज को गलत ठहरा रहा है. Hence answer is going to be C. Very good. Priyanshi has got 30 on 30. The rest of you quickly look at your scores. Standard hair time should have been 18 to 24 minutes. But certain passages had a lot of direct ones, so it should have been ideally finished in 20 minutes max. Number of attempts, 26 to 30. And if I look at the overall correct, then 26 में से I would have gone for 24, 25. And 30 में से it should have been somewhere around 27 to 29, not less than that. And according to me, if I look at the questions, then it should have been easy to moderate. Everyone, I hope you have enjoyed the RC sessions of T20 and the final match. You have finally got a good score on board. The only thing is you practice, and whenever you go wrong, do a quick analysis in terms of understanding why did you get that particular answer to that particular question wrong. आप analysis करते रहोगे तो आपको आप में जल्दी improvement दिखेगा. That have you misunderstood the question, you did not understand the passage, you were careless, was it the option that was confusing? Always do the analysis of where you have gone wrong and you will improve. I wish you all a very good evening. Thank you, everyone.